What is this picture
This
of?
is only just a little fence. I insist on nothing else. Not to make it a monument, just very the way it was. Emptiness around and nothing else.
And what did you write on the plaque?
Hier, da auf dem Ort seien die Nazis Mitzrich in. So it means that in this place the Nazis have annihilated the Jews from Kibartai, children, women, men, and they have also shot a group of Lithuanians.
Could you see what was going to happen? Did you imagine?
You know, one never believes. One never wants to believe.
Talking to Aunt Rachel Waldstein, can you tell me about Kibartai? What sort of town was it?
Kibartai, you see, it used to be, well, a shtetl, rather civilized for those days because it was on the border of Germany and we could easily pass the border. I even went to a German school. And then I left already Kibartai. I was 18 and came already back to see it absolutely destroyed and no nice memories, and I simply didn't even want to go there anymore. I would only go every year to see the places of annihilation, but nothing else. I wouldn't even stop in the town.
Was there a long tradition of anti-Semitism in Lithuania?
Yes, certainly. You couldn't find a certain Jew working in a state-owned institution. Not a single postman, not a single, well, policeman, not, I wouldn't say high-ranking things. But my parents, well, they were as Jews usually. They were in trade. And the young generation would leave, you know, as soon as possible because at that time there were no prospects for young people.
Where would you celebrate Pesach?
Oh, at home. It was always a very nice seder with all singing of us. I remember those songs as if it were today. A very nice choir we had, you know, we were all singing. The end was very beautiful, this Chad Gadya and all this. Even now, we always celebrate the Seder here in Misha's family, and we do continue singing.
You had two brothers, correct?
Yes.
The older one was Chaim and Ari, my father.
Yes.
Tell me about Chaim.
Chaim was an exceptional person, and it's very difficult for me to speak about him. And he was absolutely, well, benevolent, selfless, thinking all the time of other people. We were very close.
And he was how many years older than you?
8 years older. There's a difference of 4 years between all of us.
Mm-hmm. So I am told that when he was born, it was Russia. When my father was born, it was German occupation. And when you were born, Lithuania was a free country.
Independent. Mm-hmm.
And my father was with Betar already.
Yes, he was very active, extremely active.
So in 1936, my father left to South America.
Oh, yes, we all went, and he was very popular. And the whole little shtetl all came to see him off at the station. But you see, at that time, practically, we were already separated almost from Germany, 36. It wasn't a good time. And by the way, it was at the time that I remember him writing when the Spanish Civil War began.
Yeah.
Yes.
He saw the fires.
Yes.
From the boat.
And he went by ship at that time.
Peru must have seemed very, very far away.
Terribly far, terribly far. There was a lot of crying, the mother and everybody, you know. In those days when people parted, they couldn't think that they will meet soon.
What did it feel to be a young Jew in the 30s. The whole world seemed to be going anti-Semitic at the time.
Well, I don't know. We weren't so much politicized as we are nowadays, you know. We knew what is going on, but we couldn't believe that the Germans would kill everybody, and they didn't intend to. It didn't seem they ousted the people. They were allowed to leave. It's again not many wanted to leave.
The Russians came and took over Lithuania. Is that correct?
Yes, they came over. That is the army came already over. But it wasn't yet such an official occupation. The official was later. But practically 39 was already the beginning of the end. The real war with the bombing and all this that we didn't expect started on June 21st, and 22nd I fled already. We were students. We weren't very much politicized. We were very busy. The session was already coming on. We were very much involved in our studies, and we had to study very hard. We got a scholarship, and you couldn't play truant, and you couldn't just go away anytime you wanted. You were already time.
And what were you studying?
I was studying chemistry.
Where were you on June 21st?
In the dormitory, on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
That is not me personally, but you know, the boy students would go up. We didn't have a radio in our room, and they came back and they say the war has already begun. Right after that, there was an announcement about a football match, you know, and then we were already told, oh, don't worry, our planes are already in Berlin and all that, and we seemed to be quite calm. But then already the very first day, Vilna was already bombed. And the very first night of the war we spent in the basement. It used to be our dining hall for the students, but we used it already as a shelter.
Did you contact home in Kibartai?
No. It was already, first of all, there was no telephone. So we spent already the day in the basement where there used to be the dining hall, but we used it as a shelter, and we spent the night there. And the next day, my group, so to say, the last group, left at 12 in the morning. But many Jewish and Polish students had already left much earlier because it was absolutely clear that there is no other way out. And I didn't want to leave. There were certain circumstances, but simply my colleagues, they dragged me out. And then we went in a group. I wanted to go back, and the military man who just was kind enough to let us go in the direction of, he even told us, go now on foot because everything is cut off. Go in the direction of Minsk, that is Ashmana, is the nearest. And there were already no trains, everything was already cut off, and I meant to go to Kibartai. He said, no use, you can't get there. And then when we were on our way on foot, you know, we saw all the fleeing of the army. They didn't fight in Vilna, it's a myth, you know. They left Lithuania absolutely to do whatever they liked. And in front of my eyes, I just saw people bandaged and wounded. You could see a stump, a body without a head. The body was still standing and the head was already off, you know, there was explosions, and it's unbelievable, you know, when you haven't seen it, you can't imagine it. The 27th of June, we came to Minsk, and this I told you, it was about 20 kilometers from Minsk, that two of our colleagues, they didn't leave us. It was me and my chum, the two boys, also from the chemical faculty. Everyone had dispersed already, you know, whoever got on whatever he got. But those two didn't leave us alone, you know. In such an extreme situation, you recognize people. But you can't find or blame those who tried to save their lives, because no one could take a group of 20. They could take one or two, and many perished on the way, by the way. Many perished already.
From hunger, from...
No, from from bombing, and then there were already Lithuanians. It was already Lithuanian who killed them. So this truck with those soldiers happened to stop some 20 kilometers from Minsk. And the officer and one of those guys went up to the officer and said, "Be so kind, take those two girls, we'll go on, only just take them." And the officer was very kind, and certainly he checked our documents. We didn't even have any Soviet passports. We checked it, and they put us on that lorry, and we even complained that we were so naive. We didn't even realize the real situation. And we said, you know, we didn't manage to get our scholarship. It was the end of the month already, and we have nothing, we have no money. He said, "Don't worry, girls, we'll come to Minsk, I'll arrange everything for you." And then we drove maybe some, I don't know, 20 kilometers, not more, just before Minsk already. And there was an alarm, and he couldn't go on with his truck. But then luckily there appeared, it must have been a very high-ranking military man. He wasn't in uniform. The high-ranking are usually, but he had a chauffeur-driven car. And he stopped that car, and he asked that, I don't know what to call him, that military Indian, to take us to the municipality in Minsk, and as soon as the alarm stops, he'll come and take care of us. But the minute we entered, wherever we entered, the minute we entered, Minsk was already in flames, but flames, so we had to rush further. And when I'm told nowadays that something was left of Minsk, but practically it was rebuilt after the war, but nevertheless there are some houses, so I couldn't even believe it, because it was all flames, and wherever we went on and on and on, and in villages and wherever, everything was immediately on flames. And then, but on the way, you know, you meet nice people, and this extreme situation is a test of people. People were very nice. There was a group of students who were coming from Moscow to Minsk. It was already, perhaps they had already finished their examinations. It was already the 27th, the 28th perhaps, because the 27th we were in Minsk, and this was already outside Minsk. It must have been the 28th or 9th. And they were going back to Minsk. And there was no way back, and we stopped in a little Belarus village, and the peasant, you know, put us up in a shed. It was already a cold night. And then she came into the shed and she said, you know, I'm very sorry, but they say the Germans are already here, you must already leave. And so we went on and on and on and on. In Smolensk, we were, you know, all this way, on foot practically. I had a little piece of a kind of lekach, it was, from the dormitory. I took it, but we didn't even want to eat. There was no problem of eating. All these days we didn't even care for it. We couldn't even. It was, well, let's say, I had some high boots when I left the hostel. They were in fashion at that time. But on the way, I couldn't walk at all, but it was simply they dragged me. And then I decided to take off the boots. And then I couldn't put them on again because the legs were already swollen. So went on and on and on. And finally, perhaps after